Hello and welcome back to the Orlando Adventures podcast. I'm your host Russ, and today's episode is the final Q&A one. So the final Q&A one, and why is it called the final? Why is it the final? Is this the last Q&A ever? Watch this space. I would have said you'll see what I mean on Wednesday. So without further ado, because I love these Q&A episodes, I adore it. They're some of my favourite episodes to record, as you will know, because I've done approximately 94 of them at this point. No, I'm joking, but this is about number 7, because I love it, because it gives you guys an opportunity to ask the questions. It flips the pod. It basically gives you the chance to ask the questions you might want to know. You might want to hear me talk about. And I never want to make this about me, but at the same time, I'm the host. I'm the host of the pod, and sometimes you guys want to know about what I do and how I approach Disney, Universal, Orlando in general. So it kicks me off with the first question. And the first question, should we just go with the big one? Should we lead with the big one? And this might not be big for some people, and don't get me wrong, like, this isn't a topic that I've ever talked about before, because in my mind, it's not about me, but at the same time, so this question has actually been asked by 2 people. So this has been asked by Journey to Magic, and it's also been asked by Ad and M Vlogs. So go and check both of them out for sure. I met Ad and M, you'll see I talk about it on our going home day, our travel home day in the vlogs, because I actually saw them both in Disney Springs. And basically, the question that they both asked me is, what do I do for work? Now, this is an interesting one. It's an interesting one because it's something I've never talked about before. I alluded to the fact that I think in the 2025 one, I talked about basically going self-employed. I'm pretty sure I mentioned it in the 2025 one. So I went self-employed in October of last year. And a few of you know what I do because you've asked the question. I always answer everything. Like, I'm a very open book. So you ask me and I'm going to answer. What is it I do? So this might come as a shock to a few people and it might not to others. But I have my own business where I refurbish and renovate houses. So, yeah, it's a bit different. It's a bit different to what I do with this and the pod and the YouTube. And you know what? It just has worked out that way. And it's not something that I've done for a huge amount of time. This is probably the past four and a bit years. I've been a personal trainer. I have, and I officially still am, an online coach. So that might be news to a few people. I was in sales. You can see why I can talk. I was in sales for years and I sold all sorts of different stuff. And I was a sales manager at one point. I've been a finance manager. I've done all sorts. But realistically, where I'm at now, I am self-employed, doing my own thing, out on my own. It was a risk, I'm not going to lie. But I'll tell you one thing, it's allowed me flexibility. It's allowed me flexibility to be able to do the podcast. It's allowed me flexibility to do YouTube. It's allowed me flexibility to do all of these things that I want to do at the same time. I work harder than I ever did when I was employed doing a similar role, but I'm now doing it on my own, and it means that I'm having to arrange a lot of stuff on my own, and it's absolutely fine. But then I get the flexibility of, I pick my hours, I choose where I work, all of that kind of stuff. And that was the motivator, because I am all in on this podcast. I'm all in on the YouTube. Like, genuinely, I want to make this work 100%. So as you can all see, I put in a lot of effort, and I put in a lot of effort in my work life and obviously the pod and YouTube. So there you go. So that's what I do, and it probably totally wasn't what a lot of people expect, because I know I've had quite a few people ask. They're like, these are what people have said. People have said, do you work in like radio, or do you work in TV, or do you work in like media or content creation? No, I create and I build, but I build houses. Yeah, so there you go. That's an insight to Russ. And straight off the back of that one, I had a question a couple of times come up. And the reason why I led with what do I do is because a couple of the questions that I got were, would you ever move to Orlando? The people who asked me were RPC010224 on Instagram, and then Life with James and Ben. So it's the big one, isn't it? It's the big one. Would I make the move? And there's a couple of things to kind of take into account. Can I do it? Because I also had the question from Journey to Magic as well about, would I do my job that I currently do in Orlando? So can I do it? 100%. I mean, like, can I physically do the job? Yes. Can I move out to Orlando based on the fact that I own a refurbishment and renovations company? Probably not. I don't think I have I literally don't think I have the capability to do it on that grounds. Like, obviously there, alternative routes and stuff like that. Could it work? Yes. Would I find a way? Yes. Would I like to do it? Categorically, yes. However, there's a couple of things to bear in mind. So, Annie being one of them. Does Annie want to do it? Annie is less sold on the idea than I am, because Annie is like early in her career of what she does as a teacher, and she's really happy in it. She's really happy in her job. She loves it. And I couldn't, honestly, for anyone who enjoys their job, I would never want them to change that. Because having been in jobs that I haven't enjoyed, for someone who loves what they do, like, I wouldn't want to change it for the world. I really wouldn't. So I love Orlando, but first and foremost, I would think about our kind of like home life. Do we want to uproot our entire life and move over there? Where we are currently, probably not. Would I do it? Yeah. If you'd asked me 4 or 5 years ago, I'd have done it in a heartbeat. Like, but where I'm at the moment, probably not right now. But would I do it? I'm there, don't get me wrong, but it's a group effort. It's a team. We're a team. So would we do it? Probably not right now. The other thing is, I love Orlando. We all know this. I love Orlando. I love the parks. I love everything about it. Would I want my feeling of that to change? Because obviously the moment you live there, it's a different experience. I don't know. I probably still would, and don't get me wrong, I'd love to be like a Mr. Morrow or a Tim Tracker and be out there every day and like kind of in the parks. I can see me doing that, I'm not going to lie, but I think right now, it's not going to happen. It's not something we're pursuing, but never say never. You never know. If opportunities come up, you never know what's going to happen, do you? Next question is from Rosie from Theme Park Traveller. And she has asked, as I do the And Beyond episodes, are there any other places I would like to visit? 100%. Like, not even a question, is it? Like, I really want to go to Disneyland California. I want to go to DLP. Like, those are two, like, DLP feels like, it just feels like a bit of a travesty that I haven't been there. But at the same time, as we all know, my priority currently is Orlando. And it's going to be Orlando for the foreseeable. So if I can get to Orlando or I can get to DLP, we know where I'm going. So, DLP, I want to go to California. I would like to do some of the Asian parks. They still scare me a little bit, not going to lie. They don't jump out to me as much as Orlando, obviously. And I think I might have said this in the last Q&A one, but I really want to do New York. I'd love to do Vegas. And then in Texas, there is a gym called Alpha Land. And that is owned, run, created by a guy who I followed on YouTube for years, like years. And that place is like the absolute mecca of gyms. So he built it as the Disneyland of gyms when he first made it. And I mean, it looks unreal. I'd love to go there. That's in Sugar Land, Texas, which is a totally random place. Will I do it? I don't know. I think it's certainly on the cards. But again, priorities are Orlando. Like, if I can get out to Orlando to have more trips and create more YouTube videos and stuff like that, am I going to do it? Absolutely. Next question is from Tattoo Tourists on Instagram, and they have asked me if I could change the IP of Superhero Island, what IP would I want there? Oh, it's so difficult. We know my stance on Marvel, and obviously there's Doctor Doom there as well, which I love. But what would I do if I were to change it? We always talk about this with regards to Universal and what would you put in there? And I think of the IPs that they hold, and if they were going to change that entire land, I know I've said that I would put this in studios, but I would go for this here because I feel like it suits it better. I would probably go Wicked. I feel like it would work really well in this area. I think that you could have an Elphaba kind of like flight roller coaster on where Hulk is. I think you could probably sensibly retheme Doctor Doom to something else. I wouldn't want it to happen, but you could. And then Spider-Man could become something to do with like Emerald City or Shiz University or something like that. I feel Wicked would work really well. I don't think Wicked works in this park, don't get me wrong. I think it would work better in studios, and it looks like it potentially might be going to Epic. So there was me saying that studios was going to be the one, but they've obviously got other plans for studios. Epic, I can understand it. I can understand it's the new park. Go and put the hype in the new park. By all means, keep the hype up. So I'd go Wicked. That's what I'd go for. And the reason why I always go back to Wicked is because Universal don't have that many franchises that they haven't used or haven't used already. So if you're talking about big enough IPs to take an entire land, I think you've got to go for the one that is the current big hitter at the moment, and that's Wicked. Next question from Tim's Travels. He's hit me with a keep, update and remove, and the options he's given me are Galaxy's Edge, Pandora and World Showcase. Oh my god. Like, this is brutal. But I'm keeping Galaxy's Edge. It's not even a thought process. I keep Galaxy's Edge. Oh, removing one of these is grim, isn't it? Because I had a newfound love for Pandora on my recent trip. So it's difficult, but I don't feel like you can get rid of World Showcase. So World Showcase for me is the update, and the remove has to be Pandora. And the reason why is because World Showcase is such a big part of Epcot. You take World Showcase out of Epcot, Epcot is a small park. It really is. And I feel like the same with Animal Kingdom, but I feel like Animal Kingdom, it can have more put in there easily. So with World Showcase, in terms of what I would update, like all of the countries, I mean, I feel like there needs to be an attraction in each country, surely. And I know that in like the pavilions and stuff, there are small things, but I feel like you could definitely do more. I feel like there could be more done with some of the areas that we probably all just walk through and don't actually do anything in. So that's what I do. Give us more attractions. I'm here for the rides. Next question is from Steve Haley, what an absolute legend. And he has asked me, when am I going to see Epic? Well, if I could book my tickets for Epic via the Universal app, I would have booked them already. So that basically tells you I'm not going to see Epic in May. Is it going to happen this year? Yes, it is. It's going to happen this year when they allow me to book the tickets. Should I have just bought them when I was in Orlando? Yes, I should. And have I kicked myself for it every single day? Yes, I have. But when am I going to do it? I'm not going to tell you just yet. The reason why is because I'm going to do an announcement video in the coming couple of weeks. So I'm sorry, and I love answering the questions, but this is the one question currently I can't give you the answer on. And there's a couple of reasons why, and you'll see. So just trust me on it. Just trust me that, like, I'll tell you as soon as I can tell you. Next question is from Ab Daily. They've asked me, did I feel like I got a better experience by staying on site at Disney? And by a better experience, a better Disney experience. I think without a doubt. I think absolutely 100%. Like, I definitely got a better and more immersive Disney experience by being on site. 100%. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And there's, you know, it's such an easy one because 100%. I think it was a brilliant experience. And the difficulty is that I've been an on-site guy for years. I've done a lot of trips off-site. I've been an off-site guy for a lot of years, and I've done off-site in different kind of like ways and different like venues, different like resorts and hotels and villas and all that kind of stuff quite a lot over the years. But do I see myself staying off-site anytime soon again? I'm not sure I do, you know. I've got the bug. I've got the bug to go and tick off quite a few Disney and Universal resorts. So watch this space. And I think if things go to plan, I'll definitely tick at least another one off this year. And off the back of the question from Tattooed Tourist, actually, I've got another question from Orlando Accomplice. And they have asked me if I could bring one IP to any of the theme parks, what would it be? And I'm standing on the hill. I'm on this hill. It's wicked. I don't care what park it goes in. I just want it to be there. I mean, the easy answer obviously is Marvel, but I know that Marvel's not going to happen. I don't want to get my hopes up. But a Wicked, I can see it happening. I can see it being realistic, and that's why I'm going hard on it, because I actually think if they do this and they do it properly, this could be the next Harry Potter. I'm saying this could be like the next Wizarding World in terms of it could be that good, that immersive, that kind of incredible and to scale that they could basically bring this amazing kind of world to life. And I think that it attracts a lot of different audiences with kind of your original Wizard of Oz fans, but now your Wicked stage show fans, and now your Wicked film fans. So you bring all of that together in this one world, and I think a lot of people will enjoy the lore and enjoy the kind of aesthetics of it and the storyline of it. So I'm standing on Wicked. I think Wicked's the way to go, and we will see in due course, I'm sure. Next question is from ME Travels 1, and they've asked me if I could relive one moment from my recent trip, what would it be and why? It's so difficult because we had an amazing trip. We really did, and I hope you've all been enjoying the vlogs. I really do. And I will say, the feedback for the vlogs has been amazing. It's been absolutely like mind-blowing. But if I could relive one moment, there's so many amazing memories. But I think I'm going to class this as one moment. But that evening at Animal Kingdom Lodge, like, we had the best time. Just walking into that lobby and checking in felt mad. It felt absolutely wild. It really did. So, you know what? It's just that evening at Animal Kingdom Lodge, Sanaa was amazing. It was just such a great time. And you obviously, a few of you would have seen it on this week's episode of the vlogs. And honestly, I just couldn't have been happier. I really couldn't. I feel so grateful. I just had such a wonderful evening. Off the back of that question, ME Travels 1, they did actually ask me, would I move to Orlando as well? But they asked me, would I pursue Orlando Adventures every day? And this is an interesting question. This is the reason why I left it till now, because would I explore Orlando Adventures every day? Well, before I answer that, let's answer another question as well. And that question is from Essex to Disney. So, they have asked me, where do I see myself in the podcast in 5 years' time? Okay, so where do I see myself, the pod, the vlogs, all of that kind of stuff? I'm an ambitious guy. Let's get this clear and let's get this straight. And I think there's nothing wrong with ambition. There's nothing wrong with wanting something. There's nothing wrong with working so hard to try and get something that you believe in and you enjoy and you love. And I love this podcast. I love doing the vlogs. I love everything to do with Orlando Adventures. Where do I see it? Honestly, and this is ambitious, but 5 years' time is a long way. I would love for Orlando Adventures to be the world's biggest Orlando podcast. Straight up. Like 5 years' time, I can see it. I can see it happening. I would love for this space to be the biggest. I would love for this to be the one. The absolute one in one. So, and it, like I said, it's a far cry, but 5 years' time, I feel like a lot can happen. Where do I see it? I really do see it there. I feel like if we can get to this amazing kind of like position of having been established for such a long time and having so many amazing guests, it opens doors, doesn't it? It opens doors, it opens possibilities. But above all else, I enjoy it. And I enjoy it, so I'll keep doing it. That's the main thing. Like, there's no point doing it if you don't enjoy it. If you're doing it for the fortune and glory, then it's not the one. It won't last. You won't get the longevity of it. And I know that. I'm very, very realistic. I started this because I love talking about it, because I love going to Orlando. I love talking to you guys. That has never once changed from day one. It will never change. I am so grounded. I am so realistic as to how amazing this podcast has been for myself, but for the community as a whole, to be able to kind of try and bring people together. So where do I see it? I see this being the biggest, and I see it being the biggest because I am so passionate and I'm so driven to do that. And if I can bring the YouTube to be anything like, let's be real, if I can have the YouTube anywhere near the level of a Tim Tracker or a Mr. Morrow, then I have blown my expectations out of the water. But that's, again, it's not why I'm doing this. I'm not doing this because I want to be Tim Tracker. I'm doing this because I love talking about Orlando. Like, that has never been the thought process, but at the same time, I'm also realistic because I'm putting a lot of time, I'm putting a lot of effort, I'm putting a lot of me into this podcast. And do I want it to work? Of course I do. And like, where it's at the moment is amazing. It really is. So to answer your question, I'd love for this to be the biggest podcast, biggest Orlando podcast in the world. And the YouTube, I want it to be up there. I want it to be up there. I love creating content. I absolutely do. And would I pursue Orlando adventures every day from ME Travels 1? Yes. I'm going to be real with you. I will be, if I stick at this the way that I am and with the passion that I've got, and it isn't going to change, trust me. If I continue the way I've been going, I will be surprised if I don't have to go and do this full time within the next 2 years. I spend so much time doing the podcast and doing the vlogs and all that kind of stuff at the moment, and I can just about juggle it. I can just about juggle the lot because of my work situation, how I've managed to kind of work both. The moment the podcast and the YouTube stuff goes up even more, then I've got to be real. And I've got to go, what do I want to do? Do I want to chase the dream or just want to carry on doing my other business? I'm going to chase the dream. Because I don't even think it is a dream at this point, because I feel like I'm living it. I really do. So just thank you to everyone for us getting this far. We're at 99 episodes of the pod. We've got the 100th one coming out on Wednesday, and God, I'm excited to get you all to see that one and hear that one. It's going to be epic. So next question from another legend, Sam McMaster, and he's asked me, now that Animal Kingdom Lodge has been ticked off, what hotel would I like to do in Disney next? I want to do Animal Kingdom Lodge again. I'm not going to lie, I want to do it again. That is still at the top of the list. I want to do Savannah View. I want to do it in the summer because I want lighter evenings. I want to be able to like look out that window and just see the savannah out the window. I want to experience it even more. But if I were to pick another resort, it's Polynesian. I think it's easy. I think it's at the top of everyone's list. But Polynesian is right up there. So, do I see it happening this year? Probably not. Do I see it happening in the next couple of years? 100%. I'll make it work. I'll make it happen. I'm sure of that. I don't know how, but I'll figure it. But Polynesian is a great question. Next question from Sam, and he's gone for the heart, and he's asked me, what do I think about Man United's transfer activity? Pathetic, to be quite honest with you, Sam. What have we done? He said, obviously now we've got a lack of attacking options. We've let Anthony go on loan. We've let Rashford go on loan. And we've replaced them with no one. So we've lost two essentially at this point fringe players who were in attacking roles and replacing with nothing. I don't feel great about it. I feel like we basically need to limp through the rest of this season and then go and have another reset in the summer, which is the same thing we've done for the past like 6-7 years, which is baffling. But not to take this over with football, but that's how I feel on it. I don't feel good on it, but it doesn't change how I back my team. I love my team, and it doesn't matter if we're absolutely diabolically rubbish. I will still love Man United with all my heart, and I'll still watch every single game that's on TV. It just pains me. Luckily, I can switch off from football and I can come to the podcast in Orlando where I can have a great time. So, yeah, it's a great question, Sam. I appreciate it. Next question is from Steph Davis 22. And Steph has asked me, what am I looking forward to doing on my next trip that is a little bit out of the norm? I can't answer it. I can't answer. And I hate being really cryptic, but put it this way. My next trip is going to be different from any other trip I've ever had. Put it like that. It's going to be different from any other trip you've probably seen. And what am I going to do different? I can't really tell you because it's going to be so different. But put it this way. I'm going on another trip this year. Like that's an absolute certainty. But what is going to be... I tell you what, in terms of one thing that I would like to do on the next trip that isn't being cryptic, I really want to do Keys to the Kingdom. Keys to the Kingdom tour, that is so high on the agenda for me. I really want to get off. That looks like so much fun. I love like kind of learning about the magic, behind the scenes kind of stuff. That is totally me. So Keys to the Kingdom. I think I just got to make it happen. And I know that so many of you have done it and you've said that it's brilliant. So yeah, I think that's where I got to go. Next question from Cara Hicks. And Cara has asked me, if I could sit down with the creative team from Epic Universe, what is the first question I'd ask? Well, there's one question that's burning me right now. And what is the Battle of the Ministry? I want to know what this ride is. I want to know what the ride system is. That's the first thing I'd ask because it's doing my head in not knowing. I really, really want to know. But I suppose another question I would ask, and I'd be really intrigued, but I'd love to ask how the park has been built and how it is right now. Is that how they envisioned it when they first set out? I'd love to know that. I'd be really intrigued to know whether or not Dark Universe, Wizarding World, How to Train Your Dragon, Super Nintendo, and then Celestial Park. I'd love to know if all of those were the original plans, nothing's changed. Or did they have plans for a different IP? Did they have plans to do different stuff? I'd love to know that. I'd love to know how different the product we're getting is from what they wanted to do when they basically came up with the idea. So it'd be really interesting. I think it'd be super interesting. Did they ever have plans to do like a retro kind of area, or have they always had the plans for Dark Universe? Did they ever have plans to bring a different IP like Fast and Furious or something else? Like, do you know what I mean? Did they have other ideas before we got what we're gonna get later this year? It's a great question. I absolutely love it. But the one that's burning me right now is, what is Battle for the Ministry? Like, the description says that it goes up, down, left, right, forward, backwards. It goes every which way. But what is it? I don't understand what the ride is. I just want to know. Is it kind of like Tower of Terror meets Gringotts? I don't know. But we're going to see very, very shortly, and I am so excited. Next question is from Wookiees on Tour, and Dom has asked me, what is one item that I take with me on an Orlando trip that I class as invaluable? I mean, the phone. Phone's number one. Camera now. Yeah, I mean, like, the technology stuff aside, it's difficult, isn't it? Because I mean, those are the number one. To be fair, like they are the number one item for me now. It'd be the camera. I don't think there's any doubt. And to be fair, I'm going to give that as the answer. But I cannot imagine doing an Orlando trip without vlogging it now. And I've done one trip, but I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Honestly, I had the best time. I was absolutely in my element. I was buzzing. Annie was having a great time. When she was getting involved, she was loving it. And honestly, we both really did enjoy it. And we're excited to do it again. We really are. So it's a great question, Dom. Next question from Wookiees on Tour as well. And he's asked me, what is my favourite beach to visit on an out-of-park day? Well, I've got to think of a beach that I've been to a couple of times. And I'm going Daytona. I think Daytona's a shout. And the reason why is because there is stuff to do in Daytona. Daytona Beach is lovely, but also you can go to like Daytona Speedway. You can go and have a little look around Daytona. So I think it's an easy answer for me. But that's not to say there aren't other wonderful ones. I think like some of them are fantastic, clearly. But in terms of ones I've done that I've loved, Daytona, I think it's a shout. And then Dom has asked me one more question as well, and it was, what was the best meal that we had quality and value-wise on our most recent trip? Quality and value is difficult, but for me, it's Sanaa. Like, I think the quality of that food, the service, the just the vibes of the place, Sanaa is right up there for like best meals I've ever had. 100%. And I think the value for money was actually sensible. I think you got what you paid for and a bit more, if you know what I mean. Like you got amazing food. It wasn't like super cheap or anything like that, but you expected the food to be a good quality, and then it was like amazing. It was top tier. So for me, it's Sanaa, and we will be back there later this year. There is no doubt in my mind because we both loved it. And as you would have seen from the vlogs, we were pretty full up already from that day. So I'd like to go in there with even more of an appetite because I want to eat more of the food. So Sanaa, that's where I'm going. Next question. I've got a few questions from Lenny Loveridge. And Lenny has asked me, honestly, do I think that the queue times were worth it on New Year's Eve? No. No, I don't. And that's me being honest. Do I think that standing in a queue for 2.5 hours for Ratatouille, 2.5 hours for Frozen, 2 hours for Soarin', and then whatever else we did, we queued half an hour for Three Caballeros. I don't even think I put that in the vlogs. Do I think those queue times were worth it? No. I honestly don't. And quite honestly, me and Annie have had this conversation. Would I do Epcot again on New Year's Eve? I probably wouldn't. And if I was going to do it, I wouldn't go in there with the expectation to do rides. It was amazing. It was a wonderful day. We loved it. It was like one of the most memorable New Year's we've ever done. It was absolutely incredible. But if I'm being honest with myself and with you guys, were the queue times worth it? No, they weren't. Because it was so long. It was so busy. Like it was a struggle. So we had an amazing time, but the queue times weren't worth it. What does Annie think about Tough to Be a Bug being replaced with Zootopia? Oh, I don't think she's too happy. But at the same time, that would probably be, that's her hidden gem. So Tough to Be a Bug is Annie's hidden gem. She loved it. Because for her, it's like a nostalgia. As we all have a nostalgia thing. For her, it's a nostalgia thing that she remembers it from when she went as a kid. So I get it. But at the same time, fortunately, Zootopia is one of our favourite films. It's one of the first films we ever watched together. So Zootopia, she's quite happy. She's quite happy. I don't think she's going to mind. She's not going to miss Tough to Be a Bug. I think that's realistic. I think she'll embrace Zootopia 100%. And I think she's quite excited for it, really. As am I. Very excited. Lenny's also said that I should go and watch Orlando soccer because apparently it'll be more entertaining than watching Man United play. Yeah, I mean, I can't even argue it. I can't even argue, like, obviously over the years, I've been able to say that we're the best team in the country or the best team in the world, but I can't say it because we're a joke at the moment. And that's the reality of it. It absolutely pains me to say it because they're my football team. I love them with everything. And I've committed so much of my life to them. And I will continue to do so for the remainder of my life. But it is painful to watch them. At the moment, I've got to be real. Next question. Essex to Disney again. And Joe has asked me, Disney or Universal? I mean, this is the biggest question of all, isn't it? Like, how can I answer it? Because I love both. But I will answer because it's my podcast and I put this Q&A and I say I'm going to answer stuff and I can give an answer to it, so I will. Disney. There we go. And I feel bad. And I feel bad, trust me, because if we're talking, you weren't specific. So you weren't specific in terms of parks or company. And I've got to go company. I've got to go overall as a company, Disney. Like, I don't think I'm doing it justice how big a Marvel fan I say I am. Like, you can see a couple of Marvel bits of memorabilia behind me. It's a big part of my life. I love Marvel. So, Marvel's owned by Disney. So, I go Disney based on that, to be honest with you. So, parks-wise, it's really difficult. It's really difficult. So, you haven't asked me that, so I'm not going to answer it. But yeah, it's a great one. It's a good one, but I'm going Disney. Apologies, everyone. But it's not a diss on Universal before anyone gets upset about it. I love Universal, as we know, and I love a lot of the franchises, but my top of all time is, it is Marvel, and then Star Wars isn't far behind either. So, yeah, it's got to be Disney. Next question from the Devonshire Diz. Adam has asked me, if I could pick one lesson from my recent trip, what would it be? This ties into a little bit to the question from Lenny Loveridge, and it's queues. It's time of year in queues, and to be fair, it worked out because it was a time of year that we could go. So, would I do it again? If it were the only option I have, yeah, absolutely. Wouldn't even be a question. But the lesson that I probably would take is I would push harder to go a different time of year that wasn't that mad busy Christmas time. It was amazing. And I will do it again at some point, there's no doubt. I probably wouldn't do Epcot on New Year's again because that was just different level busy. But would I want to be in the parks that time of year? Yes, I would, 100%. But the lesson is that I expected it to be busy. It was beyond busy. It was at times, and we're patient people, as you obviously saw, because we stood in some mega queues. There were times where I did find myself getting a little bit fed up of queuing. I did, and I'll be honest with you, and I'll be real with that, because we stood up in queues for a long time. So there you go. It's just try and be more flexible with my times if possible, and pick a different time, because the queues were weighing heavy on us by the end of the trip. Next question from Hunting for Emily, and she has asked me, would I like to visit any other Disney or Universal parks around the world? Well, I kind of answered this earlier, but DLP, 100%. Disneyland California, 100%. I would like to do the Asian parks, but they're not as high on the agenda for me. So realistically, it's DLP in California. That's where I'm at. It's an easy one. Next question, Lou and Mill Rome, a couple of legends, and they've asked me, if I could create my own themed attraction or ride at either Disney or Universal, what would it be? Again, it kind of ties to Wicked. I think Wicked has got to be the way that I'd go. I think it's got to be. I do. But I mean, obviously we're talking Dream, it's Marvel. It is Marvel. I don't think there's any question. And talking of Marvel, if it were Marvel, I feel like the possibilities are endless. But if Marvel ever did come to Orlando, it means that Superhero Island goes, which means that Doctor Doom goes, and I need there to be a Doctor Doom ride. I do. I need, if Disney, if you do this, there needs to be a Doctor Doom ride. So I'm putting it out there. That is it. There has to be a Doctor Doom ride. Next question from KK507 on Instagram, and they've asked me, if you had 24 hours in Orlando, what am I going to do? 24 hours, dream day. I'm going to do this straight off the bat. Nice, quick, easy. I'm starting with a Kiki's. I'm going to Kiki's in the morning for a breakfast. I'm then going to head to Hollywood Studios. I'm going to go Hollywood Studios. I want to go and do Rise of the Resistance. I want to go and do Tower of Terror, and then I'd probably dip out the park. I might watch a show. Maybe I'll watch Frozen sing along. I loved it. I loved it. So I'm going to do a bit of Hollywood Studios. It's going to be a day of highlights, let's be honest. So I'm going to do Hollywood Studios. I'm going to dip out of there. I'm going to head to Epcot. I'm going to go and do Guardians. And I'm going to get September because... Is there anything else I'd do? I probably don't think there's anything else. I might go and get a margarita. I'm probably going to get a cheeky margarita. And then I'd probably leave Epcot. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to leave the other two Disney parks. I'm then going to head to Universal. I'm going to go and do The Mummy. I'm going to go and do Gringotts. I'm going to have a bit of a chill, bit of a mooch around the park. And then, I mean, it's probably getting to like, probably dinner time at this point. I don't want to leave the parks or like leave the area. So I'm thinking, go to City Walk. I'm an easy guy. I'm probably going to get a Panda Express, you know. Go and get a Panda Express, orange chicken, broccoli beef, and then the fried rice. I'm a happy guy. A couple of egg rolls on the side. I'm having a feast. And then it's just getting dark, so I'm going to head over to IOA. And then, you know, it's Hulk in the dark. It's Doctor Doom in the dark. It's Velocicoaster in the dark, and it's Hagrid's. Those four. And that, for me, what a day. I'd probably leave the park. I mean, I'd probably get a little cheeky snack on the way home. Maybe like a twisty treat or something. I don't know. I've never had a twisty treat. That's a fun fact. But I love the look of it. So probably top the day off with something like that. So that would be my day off the top of my head that I would do in Orlando. Next question from Gav K on Instagram, another legend. And he's asked me, if I won the lottery, what would my Florida plans be? We're talking hotel, length of stay experiences. I mean, we go all out, don't we? So, month trip, straight off the bat, we're doing a month. I mean, if I won the lottery, to be honest with you, I'd buy a holiday home there. Wouldn't even be a question. But anyway, we're gonna talk about holiday. So, Polynesian. I want to do a week at the Polynesian. I want to do a week at Grand Floridian. I want to do a week at Animal Kingdom Lodge, and I want to do a week at Helios. There we go. So that's my month sorted. I mean, we're just going to do all the parks. We're going to do every park, but I'm just going to live it. I'm just going to live. I'm going to go and do a weekly shop in Walmart. I'm actually going to I might cook myself a dinner every other night. I might go do some breakfast in the room and stuff like that. But there's so much to experience that I think that I'd love to just be out there for like a month and experience it for longer. And it would be a really chilled trip. I think that with that, I could spend more time in the parks doing things that aren't rides, because obviously I'm very ride heavy, ride dominant. So it'd be nice to experience more of just kind of like being in the parks and seeing the parks, seeing all of the shows, that kind of stuff. And experiences, I mean, Wild Africa Trek, 100%. I'd love to do some after hours events like Orlando Informer, things like that. Keys to the Kingdom, as obviously I said earlier. Dessert party at Magic Kingdom. I mean, what else? What other stuff is there? There's probably more. There's some after hours events at things like SeaWorld, probably Busch Gardens. Like, I'd love to go and do those. So it's just an all-out everything tour. But that would be my plan straight off the bat. That's where I'm going, and it's a great shout, Gav. I love it. Next question from Loving Travel Life. What's the plan for my next trip? And I've also been asked this by, let's have a little look, Forever Dream Seekers. They both asked me, when's the next trip? And I get it. I totally get it. I feel so bad not answering it, but I'm not going to answer it because I can't really tell you at the moment. I can't quite tell you. It's just like, I've just got to get something over the line, and then we're there. So what is the plan? I'm not sure, but I'm definitely going back this year. I'm working on trying to be able to do multiple, but we'll see what can happen. And whatever happens, it's getting vlogged. There's going to be more podcasts. I'd like to record a podcast out in Orlando. I would like to do that this year. So let's see where that goes. Next question, we've got a few from Ashley and Emma. So Ashley and Emma, they've asked me, what was the thing I liked and disliked about vlogging? I love being able to edit it and watch it back. Like, that for me is mega. Just to be able to relive the memories that myself and Annie obviously had in Orlando. from the comfort of my own home is amazing. What did I dislike? I loved it. I absolutely loved vlogging. Like if there was anything I did dislike, it was, I suppose the only annoying thing is getting the camera out every 2 minutes. Like, any of you will know, if you've got the DJI, the little Osmo Pocket 3, like, it's an amazing little camera. It's absolutely brilliant. But I'm so scared about breaking it. I'm so scared about breaking the gimbal off the top of it that I basically would record a clip, put it away in its little case, put it in my pocket, get out again, record another clip. I kind of wish that, I don't know, maybe I just wish I was a bit braver. I was a bit braver and would just like keep it out all the time and just carry it around and then just press record as and when, instead of like getting it out every single time. It's the kind of only thing that I disliked. It was just a bit of a pain doing that every time. But like, by a pain, like, it was fine. It wasn't an issue. But yeah, absolutely loved it. Next question from Ashley and Emma. If I could make my own Marvel film, what do I make and why? Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom. It's so easy. And I know it's coming. And if I can insert myself into that film anyway. So if anyone from Disney or Marvel Studios is listening right now, I want a part in Avengers Doomsday. I'm putting my name in the ring. I'd quite like to be Doctor Doom, but obviously I'm not going to take Robert Downey Jr.'s spot at this point. Doctor Doom. And the reason why, and I've said this before, but I know that like everyone probably thinks it's a running joke about me going on about Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom as a character is so immensely complex and so interesting to me and so OP powerful as well that I'd love to do a film, because if you read any of the comics and if you know anything like what happens in the comics with regards to Doctor Doom, you'll be like, this character is cool. Like, every good franchise needs a great villain. Like, if you don't have a great villain, and I'll always say this with any Marvel film or any superhero film, if you don't have a good villain, it falls apart at the beginning. It does, because you need your villain to be strong. You need your threat to be high. You need something big. Your Avengers level threat needs to be big enough that you're worried. You need to be concerned about the characters you love. You need to be invested in them, that you think this character, and this is why Thanos did so well, Thanos was so powerful that it's unpredictable. It leaves you in a state of, I don't know what he could do next, because he's clearly so powerful that he can kill our Avengers with his hands, or he can snap half the universe away. Like, he's that strong. So it's an interesting one, and I think Doctor Doom is right up there in terms of those complex characters that in terms of villains are so powerful and such a threat to the characters we love that Doctor Doom is the way I'll go. So if I could make, you know, if the Russo brothers want to step aside and let Russ come in to direct Avengers Doomsday, then I'm here. I'm ready. I'm waiting. I've got an A level in film studies, if that is enough credentials to go by. And the next question from Ashley and Emma is, if I could create my own tribute store, what would it be and why? Retro Universal. Done. Just a straight up retro trip. And like, I mean, I want to see like loads of Back to the Future stuff. I want to see loads of Twister stuff. I want to see like Beetlejuice Graveyard Review. I want to see things like Earthquake, Disaster. I want to see Jaws, like all of that kind of stuff in one place. Just this mega kind of, and I know that's what literally the tribute story is, by the way. But like, I want it to be this mega retro, like nostalgia trip of just like all of the cool merch, like retro clothes, all of the cool stuff. That's what I want, and I appreciate it basically exists. But like, that is what I love. So that's where I'm going. Classic Universal. Next up is from Michael Coy 92, another legend, and he's asked me, what is my greatest memories from Disney or Universal? I mean, there's so many, but if I wind it back, I feel like this trip, that evening me and Annie had at Animal Kingdom Lodge, is right up there. Like, not even a question. I think of that first time myself and Annie went on Hagrid's. That first time we went on Velocicoaster, first time we went on Rise of Resistance, first time we went on Cosmic Rewind. All of those, the feeling that I get going on those kind of rides the first time is, as you all know, is unparalleled. It really is. So I love that feeling. That's a magical feeling. I did a trip with two of my friends years ago, as I've said before in previous episodes. That night that we decided for the first time to go to IOA at night, and we went and did Doctor Doom. That first feeling of ever doing that at night with two of my best mates. That was a feeling, and it will live with me forever because I loved it. That was one of my favourite memories. It genuinely is. I absolutely loved it. And I mean, you know, I've been very, very fortunate to have had my parents like take me from a young age. I remember having the autograph book in 1999 when I was 5 years old and meeting all the characters. Like, you know, what amazing memory. And I was talking with my parents and my brother the other day, and we were chatting with Annie, funnily enough. It was when we came back from our trip. And my parents reminded myself and my brother that in 1999, we got to the park so early. We were rope droppers from a young age, clearly. But we got to the park so early, they let myself and my brother open the park. We opened Magic Kingdom. So ridiculous. Like, but what an amazing memory. Like, and just like, so I'm so appreciative of all these memories. But in terms of other like great Disney and Universal memories, this pod. The decision to do this pod nearly a year ago. And I don't say this lightly, it's one of the best decisions I've ever made. 100%. The joy this brings me day to day is unmatched. So there we go. That's a few memories for you. Next one is from Annie Stores. If I could remove a ride, what would it be and why? So I'm just going to be spiteful, and I'm just going to remove Cat in the Hat because I just don't like it, and because I know that it's going to wind up Lee from A Brit Travels. So yeah, I'm going to get rid of Cat in the Hat. I think it's awful. I think it's a dreadful ride. I've done it once years ago. I just think it's rubbish. And I love the Cat in the Hat growing up, but yeah, just because funny. I'm Cat in the Hat. That's where I'm going. I love it. It's a good question, Annie. Next one is from Wanderlust Wallies, and it is, what is a holiday destination outside of Disney I'd like to visit? And we've had this a couple of times, but it's, in terms of a holiday destination, it's probably New York or Vegas. I think those are the two. I think they're really high on the list of ones I want to do. I don't know if they're going to happen soon. The problem is that everything Disney and Universal has taken over, and rightfully so. So that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at with where I want to go outside of Disney and Universal. Next question is from Mouse and Globe, another legend. If you could rebrand Doctor Doom with another franchise, what would it be? That's a killer, that, because I do not want to do it. But I did say it earlier. I think it's wicked. I think it's wicked. I think the ride is wicked. If I could update it, I would go for Wicked. I think that it makes sense for that to be in this area. I don't necessarily want it to be in this area, but it would make sense for it to go into this area, in my opinion. Next question, and I've kind of already answered this one, but this is from Family of Four Fun, and it's favourite part or memory of my most recent trip. Oh, it's that Animal Kingdom night. It really is. Like that was just amazing. It was such a great evening, and just like getting to stay at Animal Kingdom Lodge, it was a dream come true. It really was. It really, really was. And I know, like, to some people that might not be that big a deal, but to me it is, because I feel so grateful. I feel so grateful and so lucky to have done it. So yeah. And Family of Four Fun have also asked me if I could go at any time of year, like Halloween, Flower and Garden, etc., when would I go? Christmas was one I always wanted to tick off, so I've done that. I've been in Orlando in October quite a lot, and I've never done Horror Nights. It's got to be Horror Nights, isn't it? I've got to do it. And I'm a bit sad because obviously it was the plan to do it this year, and I just don't know if it's going to happen. But I think it's Halloween, and I want to get really invested and really kind of like into it. I want to get really into Halloween in Orlando. So it's going to happen. If it doesn't happen this year, it's going to happen next year. I'll tell you that much for nothing. So Russ doing Horror Nights is going to happen at some point in the coming 2 years. Next question. We're back to a question from Adam M Vlogs, and they've asked if I could do one job at Disney and one job at Universal, what would it be and why? And it can't be the CEO. So if I think of a job, I'm going to think of like in the parks, what kind of stuff could I do? And I kind of always say this, but I think I'd like to be a skipper on Jungle Cruise. I don't know what it is, because I'm not mad on a dad joke, but I reckon it would be funny. I do, and I think like if you had a bit of confidence to be able to kind of just do like stuff off the cuff a bit, would be really good fun. So I think, I think in Disney, I think it's got to be Jungle Cruise. It's always my answer on that one. And if I could do one role in Universal, here we go. You've given me an opportunity here. I want to be Doctor Doom. I want to be Doctor Doom. I want your meet and greet to be with Doctor Doom, and I'm going to whip the mask off and it's me. And it's going to be the funniest thing. Yeah, Doctor Doom, but give me a better outfit. Like my mask that I've got here for my Halloween costume is better than the mask that they have for Doctor Doom in the parks at Universal. So give me a proper Doctor Doom outfit and I'm all in. I'll be your Doctor Doom. I'm prepared to do it. I'll be honest, I'll be the shortest Doctor Doom ever, because I think Doctor Doom's probably meant to be about 6'5" and I'm about 5'10". So yeah, I might need some big old shoes. I need some platforms or something. But yeah, there you go. Doctor Doom. That's where I'm going. Next up, we've got Magical Memories Moise, and the first question that she's asked me is Animal Kingdom my new favourite park? Right, put it like this. Animal Kingdom, and I've got to be real with you, Animal Kingdom was at the bottom of the 6. I'm going to be real. It's not anymore. Based on my most recent trip, and I can only base it on my most recent trip, and I'm not going to give you a full ranking because I'm going to upset people otherwise, a couple of them went down. And Animal Kingdom went up. I reckon it sits middle of the road at the moment, and that's third or fourth out of the 6 is where I'm at. That's not to say it can't go up even more. You get Indiana Jones in that park, and I'm all over it. So let's see. But it's gone up. Maybe next trip it goes up again. We'll see. Next question she's asked me is, what does my perfect Disney day look like? And this is different from perfect day in Orlando, but perfect Disney day. So I'm going to do all 4 parks. If I'm doing a Disney day, I'm doing all 4 parks. So I've got to fit all 4 parks in one day. So where do I want to finish the day? I probably want to finish the day at Magic Kingdom. Bit of happily ever after. That's what I'm thinking. So let's start the day in Animal Kingdom. Let's start the day in Animal Kingdom. I want to do Flight of Passage. I want to go and do Everest. I want to go and do the safari thing. So I want to experience a bit of Animal Kingdom. I'm going to go and get that massive pretzel again because it was banging. I want to go and grab myself a couple of Night Blossoms because that was so good. As you would have seen in that episode, I loved the Night Blossom. I was sold. That changed my life that day. So a couple of Night Blossoms, and then I'm going to head over to probably Epcot. I'm going to get myself a margarita. I'm going to do Cosmic Rewind. I want to go and ride Frozen. I'd probably have a bit of a mooch around World Showcase and get like a bit of food. Might do a couple of snacks here and there. But then I'm just going to chill for a bit. Just have a bit of a chilled one. Then probably just like after lunch, I'd probably head to Hollywood Studios. This is an early start. So like I had a quick one in Animal Kingdom. Whizzed over to Epcot. Probably leaving Epcot maybe like 2 o'clock. That's what I'm thinking. Gonna go to Hollywood Studios, Rise, obviously, Tower of Terror, chill, get a Starbucks, sit down Sunset Boulevard, something like that. Just take it in a bit, and then I'm probably gonna get MK, and I'm gonna go do Tiana's. I'm going to go and I'll probably do Jungle Cruise again, to be fair. I would go and do Haunted Mansion, Pirates. I'd throw Tron in there as well. So, and then I'd finish it off with some fireworks and I'd go and get my spring rolls and probably try and eat them in less than about the 35 seconds it took me to eat them last trip. So, off the top of my head, that's my perfect Disney day. So, there's a lot, and obviously I love a ride, so there's a lot to be done and a lot to experience, but I like to stay busy. Next question she's asked me, and she's gone for it. She's gone mean. And she has asked me, keep updating clothes, Doctor Doom, Velocicoaster, Hagrid's. It's brutal. It is brutal. Oh, it's brutal. But where do I go? Velocicoaster has got to stay. I don't think there's any doubt. Velocicoaster stays as it is. That is what it is. Close Doctor Doom. In this, I've just got to, because Doctor Doom is not better than either of these two rides. I love Doctor Doom, as we all know, but I can't pick it. He's just making me close it. But I update Hagrid's. It's the classic. It's the animatronics for me. I'd like there to be a bit more in the queue. I like that there are parts of the queue I think are a little bit lacking. I'd like to see a bit more in there. That would be my other thing. If I were pressed to do something, that's what I would go for. So it's a great one, and she's so supportive. So I appreciate her so much. She's absolutely amazing. And then next question is from Charlotte LB87, and she's asked me, who is my realistic dream pod guest? Chris Evans. I'm torn between like Chris Evans, Ryan Reynolds. Chris Evans. I want Captain America on the pod. He loves a bit of Disney. I don't know. There's so many in there. I think of like... Oh, there's so many. Josh Gad? It's a shout. I think I'll go Chris Evans because I want to talk about Marvel. I do. Yeah, that's where I go. I think that's what I have to go for. So, yeah, it's a simple one. It's a basic answer, but I want to talk about Disney. I want to talk about Captain America. I want to talk about Johnny Storm. I want to talk about him coming back for future Avengers films, hopefully. Yeah, I'll be all over it. That would be my absolute dream. If it ever happens, like, just life completed. Done. See you later, guys. Next question. We've got one of last week's guests, Nick Carter, absolute legend. He's asked me 3 different questions. So, question number 1, any vlogging tips for first-timers thinking of vlogging their next trip? So, number 1 tip, I'm going to give you 3 tips. Number 1, do it. 100%. If you're thinking about it, do it. Absolutely do it. Number 2, be prepared for when it comes to doing editing. So do a bit of research. Don't think, and I'm not saying people will, but don't go into it thinking that editing is just going to be a really, really easy process, because there's quite a lot to it. I like in terms of doing it, it's not that difficult, but in terms of understanding the editing softwares and programs and stuff, I would get your head around how to operate them before you try and do your first vlog, in my opinion. Because otherwise, you're going to spend a lot of time feeling like you don't know what you're doing. And trust me, I've been there. So that would be my tip number 2. And then tip number 3 is just be confident. Just be you. Just be you and just enjoy doing it. Like, when I'm picking up the camera, when I'm doing an episode like this, I'm talking to you guys. I'm talking to you guys right now. I know that you're there. So have a confidence that you're having a conversation with the people watching your video as you're recording it. So that's my 3 tips. And Nick, you need to vlog your next trip, 100%. We're all here for it. Next question he's asked me is, any plans to do a guest episode in video form? Yes. There are multiple plans of this happening. So watch this space. It's going to happen. I think that in the next 2 to 3 months, we will get a video episode. It'll be the first video pod outside of, I suppose, the Orlando Awards, but like in terms of a full podcast episode in video form, I've got it lined up. It's happening. It's just the logistics and working out some schedules. So it's in the works. My guest is lined up already. So be ready. Be ready for the most epic, and that's not a pun, the most epic episode that we've had so far at some point in the coming few months. And the final question Nick has asked me, he's gone for, is a keep, update and close. Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, Animal Kingdom Lodge, and Cheesecake Factory. Oh, this is brutal. He's given me like 3 of my favourite things and basically gone, right, you got to bin one. I mean, how can I bin one of those? I can't do it, surely. Okay, right, I've had a think. I'm going to keep Animal Kingdom Lodge. I think that place is magical. I really do. I think I've got to keep it. Update, I'm going to update Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm going to add more songs. I'm going to add more songs from the films. And then close, I've got to close Cheesecake Factory, which feels horrendous to say because it is one of my absolute staple must-dos in Orlando. But in this keep, update and close, I've got to go keep Animal Kingdom Lodge, update Guardians, and close Cheesecake Factory. Sorry guys. Next up then. Next question, Wanderlust Wallies again is asked, if I could take any character around a park, who would it be and which park? That's so interesting. What character would I take around a park? That's so tough, isn't it? If I could take a character, I've got it. I've got an absolute banger. It's Hollywood Studios, and I want to take Grogu. And I want Grogu to be in his little like baby crib thing. I want it to be floating in midair, and I'm going to walk around like I'm the Mandalorian. And I know the Mandalorian obviously walks around carrying Grogu, but like he can get in the bin. I'm here now. I've got proper Grogu. Like, so yeah, that's what I do. It'd be so cool, wouldn't it? Walking around Galaxy's Edge with little Grogu next to you. That'd be legendary, wouldn't it? Yep, there we go. That's what I'm going for. So, next question is from Stuart Graham, and he's asked me, any predictions for Halloween Horror Night houses? Oh, it's difficult, because obviously I haven't done Halloween Horror Night, so I don't know a huge amount about it. I think we'll see a Stranger Things one. I think there'll be an epic Stranger Things one, and this is my take for this answer. And the reason why is because the final series comes out, I'm pretty sure, this summer. So they're gonna go hard on it. Surely this is their biggest season, It's final season. I think we'll get a hugely immersive version of the Upside Down. I think that's the way to go. I 100% would love to see Stranger Things. To be honest with you, if there's a Stranger Things house this year, I'm gonna call it. Don't tell Annie. I'm going. I'm going. If there's a Stranger Things, I'm going. I'm going to make it work. Leave it with me. So, next up, we've got the brilliant Time for Jade, and she has asked me, where has been the best place I'd stayed off-site? Really interesting. Vista K Resort. Vista K Resort, I stayed in an apartment. This is the 23 trip. And so I stayed with my parents. It was a really good location. It wasn't that far from Disney. It was like a 5-minute drive from Universal, just like straight down Universal Boulevard. It was opposite the Epic Universe site. The actual apartment itself was absolutely spot on. Everything was clean, like the amenities were brilliant, the room sizes were fantastic, like spot on. Vista K Resort, that's my recommendation. I think it's a great one. If I could relive one memory from a trip, what would it be? I mean, that's so tough, isn't it? It's so tough. One memory. If I could relive a memory, and I think I said this memory in one of my first episodes, so you might have to go back to hear about exactly what happened, but I'm pretty sure I called the episode something like the best moments or something like that. It's within the first like 10 episodes. Most memorable moments, that's the one. Most memorable moments one. If I could relive one memory, there was a time when I went with two of my mates. I've got to tell the story. I'm not going to send you to this episode. Right, settle down for 3 minutes and I'm going to tell this story. I went with two of my mates. I went with one of my mates called Harry, one called James, and they might be listening to this podcast, so how we doing? How we doing, legends? And we was at a Rosen Inn. So we stayed at Rosen Inn International, and we were heading out for the day. I don't know what we were doing, I can't quite remember. But I don't know what we were like floor number, I don't know, 6. I don't know. Call it the 5th floor or something like that. And we get in the lift and we're just chatting away, and we pulled like the lift stops. James is kind of like he's got his back to the doors, so the lift stops, he turns around and walks straight out the door. And me and Harry have realised at this point that actually we're on the 2nd floor. So he's got out and realised that obviously it's not the right floor, and has then proceeded to walk back into the lift. But during the time that it took for him to walk out, a girl walked into the lift. So he then followed her back in, at which point me and Harry are dying. This is the funniest thing we've ever seen. And just James's face when he realised that he's got off at the wrong floor. And then the girl kind of catches on and she realises what myself and Harry are laughing at, and she starts laughing as well, which just like set us off even more. And then we kind of get to the bottom floor, and like James is just in the biggest drop at this point, because he's basically had 3 people, two of his mates and a complete stranger, wetting themselves laughing at him for this lift journey. And I'm not kidding. I think we were going for an airboat ride actually, and I'm not joking. I had tears. Like I was crying. I was at the point I felt like I couldn't breathe. Like myself and Harry, I'm not kidding. I don't reckon we could talk for about 5 minutes, because we were just a mess of laughing so much. And it's my favourite story. It's funny enough, when I'm recording this, I'm actually seeing them both tonight, so I'm going to mention it. And it's one of those moments. It's one of those you had to be there. Inevitably. To you guys, you're probably like, shut up, Russ, this is stupid. But it was just so funny. The funniest thing was the girl realising what had happened and then laughing, but not saying anything. Just stood there in the corner of the lift, like just wetting herself. Anyway, right. It's a good question, Jade. I think you probably knew that that's where I was going to go as well. And final question, who is my favourite Jade? I mean, this is very, very obvious and very clear at this point, but Time for Jade is my favourite Jade, very clearly. I mean, just as a bit of just to sum up, like, she's so supportive, so amazing, and what an amazing friend. Like, to have met Jade through this podcast, I just feel so fortunate. And the same for everyone that I've spoke to through this amazing podcast. Like, I just feel so lucky. So thank you all, really, genuinely. Next question is from Chloe McMaster, and she has asked me, if I could be locked in overnight in a particular land in any Universal or Disney park and have free reign to do what I want, what land would it be and why? I thought about this one. It's Marvel Superhero Island, and it sounds so stupid. I'm going to replace everything Doctor Doom with Orlando Adventures. I feel like it's mine. I feel like I'm Doctor Doom. Yeah, that's where I go. Because I'm just going to be there in Marvel Superhero Island at night. I'm going to go on Doctor Doom as many times as I want. I'm going to go on Incredible Hulk. I'm going to go on Spider-Man. I'm just going to be having the best time being surrounded by Marvel stuff, and I'm going to go and change the signage so that it's Orlando Adventures Fearful. So Yeah, that's my answer. It's stupid, but that's where I'm going. Next up, Joey Penny Haswell has asked me if I could ride 5 rides, one after another, any park in Orlando, Disney, Universal, Busch Gardens, no queue, what would I pick and what order? So basically, you're saying that I can just pick 5 rides, whatever I want to do in any order. What do I do? And in what order as well? Okay, 5 rides. I've got to think of my 5 favourite rides in Orlando or Florida. So, and this is going to be ridiculous because I don't know if Dr. D makes a list, you know. Because, oh my God, something's getting left out. Iron Gwazi, Busch Gardens, Cosmic Rewind, Epcot, Rise of the Resistance, Hollywood Studios, Hagrid's, IOA, Velocicoaster IOA. And I finished the day with the 2 that I want to do in the dark. So, yeah, that's where I'm going. It's a great one. It's a good question. And then he's asked me, keep, update, or bin? This is a good one. And I appreciate this a lot. Cucumber Sprite, Pineapple Cream Cheese Spring Roll, Shrexel. Bin, Cucumber Sprite. Cucumber Sprite can do one. That is gone. I've got to keep one of these. I'll tell you what I'd probably do. I'd probably keep, and this is going to sound totally weird, I'm going to keep the Pineapple Olympia. I'm going to keep it because I feel like it's unique. It might not be acquired to my kind of taste, but I get that it's unique. The one that I like annoyed me a bit is the Shrexel because I want the Shrexel to be good. I want it to taste great, so I update it to just taste better. Just taste more like a pretzel, not like whatever it did taste like. So yeah, I'm gonna keep the Lumpia. I'm gonna update the Shrexel so it just tastes like a proper pretzel, and I'm gonna bin the Cucumber Sprite. It's a great question. It's absolutely spot on. What a legend. Next question is from Bibbidi Bobbidi Baby, and they've asked me if I could have 24 hours entry before anyone else to Epic Universe, but I can only do one land, which land am I picking? But the rule is that I can't visit any other land for at least another 2 years, and I do get to ride everything as a walk-on. One land, and then basically I'm not doing Epic Universe for 2 years. It's so difficult. And the difficulty is, my first thing I go to is the Wizarding World, but there's only one ride. There is only one ride. Do I want to throw away my entire day for one ride? I don't think I do. I think I go Super Nintendo. I think because I want to get the most out of it. So I want to go and do Mario Kart. I want to go and do Donkey Kong and probably the Yoshi slow thing as well. And experience all of the restaurants and all that kind of stuff and the quick serve. So I think that's where I've got to go. I think if that were the option I were given, I would want to do the thing where I did the most. So yeah, Super Nintendo, which is probably not where a lot of you thought I was going to go on this one. But yeah, I'm going for it. And we've got 2 more questions to go, and they are from an absolute legend. They are from Chris Roosevelt's chatter. And the first question Chris has asked me is, if I could get a celebrity podcaster to come onto the pod, who would it be and why? I don't know whether or not this works. I don't think it works with Orlando, but you know what? We might be able to make it work. And it's funny because I'm pretty sure Chris told me that he had actually had this person on a podcast once upon a time. And I would go with wrestling legend Chris Jericho. I feel like talk is Jericho. I feel like we could do the list. If anyone knows anything about the list, if you know this reference, then you know you just made the list. We could do the list of Orlando. We could do Orlando Adventures. I don't know, but maybe we've got a new segment coming. We will see on that one. But I would go Chris Jericho. I think like we'd have such a laugh, and you know, like a wrestling, a rock star, a podcasting legend. So I would go Chris Jericho. And the final question that Chris has asked me, not Chris Jericho, Chris Roosevelt's chatter has asked me, is if I could see a battle play out in a Star Wars film between any characters, who would it be and why? Now, if I get the reins, if I get to basically choose who I want to have in this battle, then I'm going to fan cast it, and I'm going for Darth Vader, Darth Maul, and Kylo Ren. I'm going the ultimate villainous battle. I want triple threat, red lightsabers all round. Like, that's where we're at. So I appreciate it's totally not possible in the lore, but I want to see it. You know, that's what I want. And that rounds us off. That is the questions, and hopefully I've answered everyone's questions. And I know there was an awful lot of questions. This is the longest Q&A to date, without a doubt. And I hope you've all enjoyed it. I really do. And I appreciate each and every single one of you. And I'm sorry that I can't answer the question about when am I going yet, because trust me, when I tell you there's some cool stuff coming up, there's some really cool stuff coming up. So I hope you've all enjoyed this episode. I hope that you've all enjoyed a cheeky little Monday episode coming as well. And we've got a big one. This is episode 99. We've got a big one coming Wednesday. And it is the 100th episode. And it's the Disney Blues one. So I hope you're all looking forward to it. It's gonna be a big one. As you know, I love a milestone episode. So the 50th episode was, well, I mean, it was originally called the 50th episode, and that was its working title, and it was actually called the Adventurers Assemble one. Well, let's just say the working title of this one is the Orlando Blues one. So watch this space. I will speak to you all on Wednesday. Thank you all so much for all your questions, for tuning in and for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I will speak to you all in the next one.